All right, I just wanted to make a video going over web servers because I know when I first started out, it was kind of confusing. What is a server versus a client and a computer? And so I just wanted to make this video so that it clarifies that. And hopefully by the end, we'll be able to use the term server and be perfectly fine with what it is. So in this example here, we're going to have two players. The first is this web browser. So it's probably what you're on right now. It's things like Google Chrome. It's the actual device where you're surfing the internet. So the computer, your phone. And then we have a web server, which essentially is just a computer without the screen or any mouse or keyboard. So these things are technically the same thing, usually. It's just one of them has a screen and a mouse and a keyboard for you to input things and see things on a screen. And a web server doesn't have those because it doesn't need them. But they're both computers. So we can think of both of them just as being computers. The difference is that servers, a web server, is connected to the internet. And they're given an IP address, which is basically a way to identify the server on the internet. And then that IP address can be registered and connected to a URL, which is a more readable location identifier. So Google.com, we all know how to type this into the browser. We could also get to Google.com by typing in this IP address right into your browser. So you can go ahead and try it and it should work. But that's kind of a lot of random numbers to memorize. So Google.com is a lot shorter and easier. But essentially, they're both pointing to this server, this computer that's running on the internet. And so let's go over some examples about how we can interact with these web servers and how a client, a web browser, interacts with a web server. So the first thing that happens is a request is sent. So a request from the browser, from the client, it could be referred to as, is sent over to a specific URL. And so here we have the example, mysite.com/about. And so that request gets sent over to the server. The correct server is identified and it receives that request. It does whatever it's going to do on the server, whatever program it's going to run, computations it's going to complete, and it sends back a response. And typically that will be like an HTML document with JavaScript and CSS, so that here the user might see this about page. One thing that's important here is this get method. So when we send over requests, there is a method attached to it. And I have this quote here defining what this get method is from Mozilla MDN Docs, and that's a great resource to learn more. Here it says the get method requests a representation of the specified resource. The resource here just being this URL, so /signup. Requests using get should only retrieve data. So basically, we're getting data. So if we sent this get request to mysite.com/signup, the response might be a sign up form page. So an HTML document with JavaScript, CSS, and it could be a form page. Now another type of method is a post method, a post request method. So again, from the Mozilla MDM Docs, the post method submits an entity to the specified resource being this URL right here, often causing a change in state or side effects on the server. So basically, we're going to be sending over an entity, something, to this resource that causes a change in state or side effects on the server. So another item we can include with the request is a body, which lets us send over some information, some data. And here you'll see that it's in JSON, JSON, JavaScript object notation, which is similar to a Python dictionary. And so we can send over this post request, include a body that says name equals DOM. And then the server might do something like create a user DOM, and it could send back a response. That's the account created page. So if we look back to that GET request, there was nothing that was changed on the server. It just sent back the sign up form. But this time we sent it to the same URL, but with a post request, and the server created a new user, DOM, and then sent back that response that the account was created and this account created page. And so that's how the cycle works for one user. But the beautiful thing about having your server on the internet is that multiple clients can interact with it at the same time. So in a real world application, there's going to be multiple users, multiple clients, web browsers, phones, whatever, sending requests in, and the server can accept those requests and send back the correct response. Awesome. So I hope that we understand a bit more about servers, and that'll help kind of set the tone for everything we're going to talk about in this course.